We need to move forward, chart our own course, focus on results.
You can't, I don't think, cheap your way to a good, efficient governor.
Dick Lamb spent 12 years as Colorado's governor.
When I got out, my young kids were on the way to college, and I had no money saved. I mean, it's tough.
He served as Colorado's 38th governor from 1975 to 1987. Initially, his paycheck totaled $40 grand a year. In his last term, it increased to 60 grand. Now, 30 years later, only the state of Maine pays its governor less than Colorado. That's right, the $90,000 annual salary ranks 49th in the country.
I also do think that there's some people that just don't even think about running for governor. They don't even put it on their radar just because the pay is so low.
To amplify that reality, we decided to have a little fun.
So, Kathy, here's what we're doing.
Okay.
Match the picture to the paycheck.
Just outside the governor's office,
$148,000.
we asked the people of Colorado
Governor John Hickenlooper.
to guess his current salary.
So you think the governor makes more than Trevor Story?
I do, absolutely.
Our governor would be in that category.
Average Colorado residents asked to match the pictures of high-profile figures
Denver Mayor Michael Hancock,
with their paychecks.
Colorado Supreme Court Justice Nancy Rice, Rockies shortstop Trevor Story, Lindsey Vaughn.
Okay.
And perhaps not surprising, only 1 in 10 matched Governor Hickenlooper with his salary.
You got the governor right. What made you say $90,000 for the governor?
That, honestly, I just took a wild guess on all of them.
Governor Hickenlooper, the lowest paid, $90,000. Colorado's governor's at $90,000.
We just don't pay the governor much, do we?
They all make more than the governor.
That's sad. That's really sad.
So you think you got the governor's salary right at $172,000?
Yep.
We shared the results of our salary survey with Governor Hickenlooper.
I thought the piece you showed me where nobody, one person out of 10, guessed my salary right. And that suggests something, that, that maybe there is a misalignment.
What's that say? When Colorado's governor's the lowest
That we don't
paid?
value him as much as we should.
What does it say when Colorado is 49th in this category?
I think it says that Colorado is frugal. And I accept that. I accepted that when I ran. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good place for the state to be.
And consider these facts. When Mayor Hickenlooper became Governor Hickenlooper, he took a significant pay cut. And today, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock makes nearly double what Colorado pays Governor Hickenlooper. Also, every member of the governor's appointed cabinet makes more than the governor.
Colorado's governor, $90,000.
But he's richer than all of them. He's a millionaire, ain't he?
That's fair.
He says you're a millionaire, you don't need the money.
That's fair.
And that's perhaps the critical point here. Has Colorado priced out the average man or woman from running for governor? Do candidates need to be millionaires or financially flush to run for the state's most powerful elected position?
This is going to become a rich person's sport. It already is almost becoming a rich person's sport.
What should this story produce?
Well, certainly the best stories, I think, and you've had your fair share, provoke discussion. And this is democracy. The way change happens is people get the facts that they were unaware of. We don't serve political parties. We don't serve special interests. We serve Coloradans. Giddy up and let's get to work.
Let the drama unfold.
You're listening to a sheriff's deputy on video from a dash camera.
Right now, I'm worried about the coach.
Obtained exclusively by Denver 7.
There's one car, his star football player.
This is moments after the campus canine drug search at Highlands Ranch High. Reports state Coach Mark Robinson drove the SUV of one of his football players a couple hundred yards off campus. Deputies located it, parked in front of the coach's home.
And moves it to try and keep him out of trouble. Well, guess what? That's great. Kept him out of trouble. But guess who's in trouble now?
Watch closely as Koa, a drug-sniffing dog, walks around the SUV 2 times.
Koa hits on it, and you can smell the weed in it.
Now watch Koa sit back on his hind legs, alerting deputies he detected a drug scent.
Suspicious?
I would say that's suspicious, and so did the officers that saw it.
Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock says after Koa picked up that drug scent, his deputies alerted school leadership and opened a criminal investigation.
Clearly, the coach, in our opinion, acted inappropriately.
And there are also questions about how school and district administrators responded after learning those facts. Coach Robinson drove the car from campus on August 24th. He resigned the next day. Teachers and athletes were simply told he took another job. On August 28th, in a parent bulletin, Coach Robinson informed parents he had resigned, saying in the past year, quote, "I was slipping in my duties as a head coach." No mention of an active sheriff's investigation. His resignation came 1 week before his team's first game. And the trail of deception by school administrators continued. 3 days after the resignation, Highlands Ranch Athletic Director Preston Davis explained Coach Robinson's resignation to the state's High School Athletic Association by saying it was a career opportunity with a lifelong friend that he just couldn't pass up. Again, no mention of the sheriff's investigation.
Tony Kowaleski from Channel 7. As you know, we've been trying to talk with you.
We wanted to ask the athletic director why he neglected to mention that sheriff's investigation that started a day before the resignation.
Don't you think parents have a right to know when Coach Robinson resigns in the middle of a law enforcement investigation? Don't you have a responsibility to tell them the truth, sir? I'm busy right now.
Preston Davis turned down multiple requests to explain his decisions.
What about leading athletes? You didn't tell them the truth. You didn't tell Chasta the truth. Don't you have a responsibility, sir? Why are you avoiding us?
Did Coach Robinson embarrass this high school and this football program?
I think Coach Robinson made a mistake.
Originally, Principal Chris Page also declined our request to explain his decisions.
Why did you ultimately decide to sit in front of our camera?
I want to make sure that we put out information at the appropriate time.
Just before the school's second football game and nearly 2 weeks after the coach moved his players' SUV, Principal Page sent this letter to families. As you likely know, there was an incident involving law enforcement on August 24th.
I guess the principal has no idea what's going on, and he just got a little tidbit about it, and the principal's like, "Are you kidding me?"
It was the third different explanation for Coach Robinson's departure, the first to include the truth about the sheriff's investigation. It came 12 days later and followed multiple media reports.
Should you have told parents that this coach resigned in the middle of a sheriff's investigation?
I believe it was appropriate for us to share the information that we did at the time that we did.
Did the school communicate the entire truth to parents and the community?
As it became clear that more information was needed by those parents, he released more information.
That's how Douglas County School District's interim superintendent explains 3 different stories and nearly 2 weeks before parents were told the real truth.
Parents and athletes weren't given the entire truth. You're the superintendent. Does that bother you?
They have the entire truth.
They weren't given it
They
originally.
absolutely have the entire truth.
Now.
So in the end, you have a coach with a resume that now reads former coach. Athletes and parents still trying to understand why it took nearly 2 weeks for the truth to come out. And school district leadership that supports decisions to essentially keep secrets from parents. What message are you sending to these athletes and their parents when you don't tell the entire story of why that coach is no longer there?
I think that if you're going to run a program, and you're going to run a program honestly, you should tell the folks this is what happened.
We can rattle off statistics about how many people are dying. 489 related to prescription overdoses in 2015. That's just in Colorado. The numbers keep growing, but these aren't numbers, they're people. And one man is determined to tell their stories.
JT, Jameson Tanner Lindeman, was born January 14th, 1985.
Always outgoing, charming.
The spark that lit up a room with a smile.
Always Jeremiah Lindeman's younger brother.
You know, when he passed away, I think I really kind of shut down.
Drugs stole JT's life and Jeremiah's best friend.
He was the first one on the map, obviously, and why it got started.
Behind the dots, names, real people like JT who lost their battles with addiction. A map of prescription and heroin overdose deaths created by a brother who saw an opportunity to put a face to an ongoing crisis.
Behind each one, there's probably a struggle along with it. More importantly, there's families and lots of love.
The Lost Loved Ones map allows anyone to add a name.
This is Sergeant Richard Vasquez, and
Picture, location, and bio.
it says, my brother was taken by this horrible devil drug.
A few clicks will show this epidemic can hit anyone, anywhere.
My brother was a sergeant in the U.S. Army, had a future ahead of him.
In Denver, Sergeant Richard Vasquez, only 28 years old. He died almost 3 months ago. Jeremiah hopes stories like this will break the shame and stigma associated with overdose deaths and create awareness.
I think there's people that have a stigma like, well, these people have such dark lives and they're just choosing to, use drugs, and it's not that simple.
The map is far from a complete picture. It's based solely on contributions.
That 760 people, that really only represents, about 5 days of what's happening in our country right now.
Showing this epidemic knows no boundaries, city limits, or state lines.
It's down in Castle Rock, it's Englewood and Littleton and Highlands Ranch, Aurora, Arvada.
Mapping overdoses, one face, a loved one at a time.
Miss him a ton. I don't want 10 years to go by and me not to remember him anymore.
Jeremiah works with maps like this for a living. His day job is a geospatial analyst, and he's working with cities and communities across the U.S. to compile overdose records and make maps for them. And as overdoses continue to rise, more names are being added. The map has really taken off within the past 6 months.
What many would consider their lowest point, one man considers an opportunity.
There was a reason that I'm still here, and I'm going to use every second that I'm here to try and improve myself as well as the people around me.
This is a picture of Craig Towler, a fitness buff and race coordinator last summer.
Things change very quickly, and when things change, the biggest thing for me was I really understood how valuable time was.
Just after this picture was taken, Craig was unloading his car after a race in Boulder.
Because everything happened so quickly that it didn't seem real.
A teenager distracted and on drugs hit him. Seth Miller saw that crash.
Everyone at the scene was pretty impressed by his bravery and courage.
Doctors had to amputate both legs, but say Craig would have died if he hadn't tied off his legs with belts to stop the blood flow.
When I woke up and knew that there was going to be a tomorrow, and that there was going to be a chance for rehab and the potential of me walking again, I was first and foremost thankful.
Craig doesn't like talking about the crash.
Because once that time is gone and it's spent on something that's not productive, it's spent on not on my recovery or getting stronger, that's time that I can't get back.
Instead, he looks for inspiration. While laying in a hospital bed, Craig used Instagram to find other people in similar situations.
That gave me motivation to say, you know what? If they can do that, why can't I?
Now Craig's posting his own videos, hoping to show just because you go through a life-changing event doesn't mean your life is over.
Life goes on, and it not only goes on, but it goes on and is a happy life.
That attitude struck Craig's prosthetist, Angela Montgomery.
He always is looking at, the good in people and the good in this world.
Craig works with Angela every week, learning to use his new legs.
Nice, nice.
These shoes represent a promise Craig made to himself. He bought them just before the accident.
Things happened and I was never able to wear them.
Each day, Craig is closer to walking in those shoes.
I kind of used those shoes as motivation.
Maybe even running in one of the races, he still coordinates from his chair, helping others achieve their goals as he works on his own.
I'm still searching for the exact same one I was before. I just have to find a little different route to get there.
Adam Hammond for Denver 7.